everybody. Welcome to Learning the Scottish Great Highland Bagpipe with me, J.D. Ingram, pipe major of the Charleston Pipe Band. This week we're going to be learning
Lesson 2, Reading Note Rhythms. Your goal will be to read simple sheet music and play tunes and rhythms. We'll include the use of both hands. Focus on playing different rhythms accurately and cleanly, and try to learn to tap your foot while playing. We'll try playing a few simple melodies. Your homework is some rhythmic warm-ups. Your extra resources are Sandy Jones Beginning the Bagpipe, pages 9 through 14, or the College of Piping Tutor, Part 1, pages 14 to 19, and also 34 to 36. First things first, let's figure out how we're going to count the time of a piece of music. The time signature is this fraction-looking set of numbers that occurs at the beginning of a piece of music. This fraction tells us the beat and the timing. The top number is how many beats there are per bar, also known as a measure, and the bottom number tells us what kind of note gets the beat. The most common time signature is 4/4. This means there are 4 quarter notes per bar. Get it? 4 quarters. This time signature is sometimes also called common time. Other times that are based in quarters are 2/4 and 3/4. 2/4 would be 2 quarter notes, 3/4 would be 3 quarter notes per bar. You'll also sometimes see music in 6/8, 9/8, or 12/8. This would tell you that there are 6/8 notes, 9/8 notes, or 12/8 notes per bar, but a lot of times the composers use this to make groupings of threes, so that you would have 2 groupings of 3 and 6/8, and this would be two equivalent beats per bar with 3 subdivisions, but this is a bit more advanced. Now let's talk about note values. In general, a note written on the page is longer if there is less ink and faster if there is more ink used in writing it. So the longest note is a simple open circle called a whole note. This gets 4 beats or 1 whole bar of common time, hence the name. If you add a tail or a stem to that note, you get a half note, which is 2 beats or half of a bar of common time. If you fill in the head of the note, you get a quarter note, 1 beat or a quarter of a bar in common time. Every subsequent note cuts that previous note's value in half, if you have caught on to the pattern so far, from 4 to 2 to 1. So if we go from 1, we add a flag to the tail, and we get half of a beat, which is called an eighth note because it's an eighth of a bar of common time. Then you get the 16th note with 2 flags, 32nd note with 3 flags, 64th note with 4 flags, so on and so forth. Typically, you're not going to see music with much worse than a 16th note, maybe a 32nd note written on it, so it's less important to know what's going on with the 4, 5, 6 flags. Here's our first piece of sample music. It's a pretty common tune that you should hopefully recognize, but I left the name off so that you could practice reading music. It's simplified a little bit for ease of reading. You'll notice that it's in 4/4 time, and it starts off with 4 quarter notes in a bar, then a bar with a half note and 2 quarter notes, then 2 quarter notes and a half note, then 4 more quarter notes. The wrench in your process comes when you get to the 5th bar, which is a quarter note and a dotted half note. A little dot next to a note multiplies that note's value by 1.5, or it adds half of the note's value back to it, however you want to think about it. So a half note normally gets 2 beats, but this dotted half note gets 3 beats. Then we have 4 more quarter notes and a whole note to wrap it up. We'll try clapping it, and then we'll try playing it.
Alright, so if you're not following along in my book, go ahead and scroll back a few seconds and screen cap or print out that music. We're going to look at the first sample tune. I'm going to just clap the rhythm first so we know what the rhythm is supposed to sound like that we're playing. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, so pausing for the parts that are held notes. Now at this point, please pause the video and see if you can actually play the song. I'm going to give you a few seconds, try to read it, see if you can figure out what the tune is. Start the video again when you've figured out what the tune is, because I don't want to ruin it for you. All right, so I'm assuming you're not cheating. You've tried it, you've figured it out, you know the song. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. Nice and steady. You get it? It's Happy Birthday, a very simplified version of Happy Birthday, but one that's recognizable nonetheless. So now you've got a tune you can play your family.
Here's our second sample piece of music. This is also written in 4/4 time, though the time signature has been left off. It's also a tune that you should recognize once you play it. The wrenches that you can see thrown in here are several places where we have a dotted quarter note. A dotted quarter note will get 1.5 beats. Typically, it's followed by an eighth note, which fills out the second half of that second beat. Walk through it slowly, first clapping, and then trying to play it.
All right, the second example tune, we'll do the same thing we did with the first. We'll clap it, then you can pause the video and try it on your own, and then we'll play it together. Here we go. 1 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2. There we go. Time to pause it. Try the tune on your own. Start it again when you think you know what it is. Trusting you. Here we go. All together. There you go. Did you get it? London Bridge is falling down. Maybe because the Scots invaded. Hey? All right. Good job.
Thanks for joining me for this lesson. Some final thoughts to summarize would be just get out there and practice reading rhythms. Google sheet music, find stuff posted in random places, and try to read along using a metronome or a ticking clock as your guide. Read the quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, and the notes with flags on them and dots to practice more complex rhythms. Read through your supplemental material, either Beginning the Bagpipe by Sandy Jones, page 9 through 14, or your College of Piping Tutor, part 1, pages 14 to 19, and also 34 and 36. You'll note the College of Piping Tutor uses different terminology for the note values than I do. They use terms like quaver and crotchet instead of quarter note and whole note, but the principles are the same.